The story begins under the blinding floodlights of the 2022 Asian Rugby Cup final. Korea faces their greatest rival, Japan, for a ticket to the Olympics. At the heart of the battlefield stands Ju Jeoram, the nation's ace, a man destined to carve his name into history. With the clock ticking and sweat bleeding into the grass, Jeoram charges through defenders like a force of nature. He dives across the try-line, scoring the match-winning point. The crowd erupts in chaos. Korea is victorious. Their hero has ascended. But glory doesn't last long. Moments after triumph, Jeoram's world collapses. A doping scandal shatters his reputation. The media, once worshipping, now spits venom. Fans abandon him. Teammates look away. Instead of flowers, he's met with shame. Instead of gold, only disgrace. Jeoram, broken and accused, bows his head to the cameras. In one breath, he announces his retirement and vanishes. 3 years later, Hanyang High School, a prestigious institution for athletes. Principal Kang Young-hyo pores over budgets with her staff. Numbers don't lie, and Vice Principal Sung Jong-man sees an opportunity. Eliminate the rugby team. Their record is abysmal. Their presence a burden. One by one, the roster of misfits is revealed. A team more comedic tragedy than champions. There's Kang Tae-pung, a first year with promise but little polish. Kim Ju-young, a crybaby prop who can't seem to control his emotions. Pyo Sun-ho, a judo convert struggling to adapt. Do Hyung-shik, the foul-mouthed short king with more bark than bite. The third years round out the chaos. So Myung-woo, an influencer more concerned with followers than fitness. Oh Young-kwang, a civil service hopeful with his eyes already off the field. And finally, Yoon Sung-joon, the weary captain living in the shadow of his twin brother's success. Underdogs? They're not even considered dogs. More like strays. Unwanted, unnoticed, and nearly erased. But then, Jeoram returns. The fallen hero reemerges, this time as their coach. Rumors swirl. Was it drugs? Was it injury? A flashback hints at a ventilator, tubes in his lungs, a body broken beyond repair. Whatever the truth, Jeoram's philosophy has changed. He values not victory, but survival. Not trophies, but the well-being of his players. Yet in a school where politics run deep, even that compassion paints a target on his back. The vice principal schemes for Jeoram's dismissal, backed by the powerful deputy superintendent Na Gyu-won, who also happens to be the PDA head and father of school president Na Seol-hyun. With a single PDA vote, Jeoram is suspended. Overnight, the rugby team is leaderless, left to rot. Still, trouble follows them. A fight with the track team earns them punishment to set up the opening ceremony for the semester. They labor in silence, excluded from their own school's pride. When their captain dares to place a rugby ball at the ceremonial altar, the vice principal hurls it aside. Bad luck, he sneers. The message is clear. Rugby has no place here. But before despair swallows them, Jeoram appears. Defiant, he hurls a rugby ball into the ceremonial pig-head cake, exploding it in a spectacle of pink frosting. The vice principal is drenched. The school gasps. The team laughs. For the first time, their shame turns into fire. The battle lines are drawn. The vice principal accelerates the vote to oust Jeoram, even turning Captain Sung-joon against him. Meanwhile, Jeoram turns adversity into strategy. He disperses his boys into other sports practices, letting them stumble through disaster after disaster. By the time the vote arrives, every teacher has seen firsthand just how much worse things are without rugby. The vote? Deadlocked. By school law, Jeoram stays. His first true challenge comes immediately. A practice match against Daesang High, Hanyang's eternal rival, and the team coached by none other than the boys' former coach, a man who abandoned them. The principal warns it's a trap. 5 years without scoring a single point. This could end in humiliation. But Jeoram accepts. His boys need the fire. Training becomes war. Jeoram studies tapes until dawn, tailoring drills to each player. The boys sweat, stumble, bleed, but follow. All except Sung-joon, who refuses to trust a disgraced has-been. He walks out, At home, he finds nothing. His mother gone to support his twin. He's the unwanted son, the second choice, the invisible one, until Jiram shows up outside his window, megaphone in hand, scolding him for wearing cleats on asphalt and handing him a pair of his own shoes. Not as punishment, as trust, as belief. And slowly the captain bends. The day of the match arrives. The first half is carnage. Daesang crushes them 35-0. The crowd jeers. Their ex-coach mocks them. But Jiram isn't done. At halftime, he slams his fist into the ground. The second half begins anew. Strategy sharpened, defense solidified. For the first time, Hanyang holds the line. They do not break. They do not surrender. As the final minutes tick away, Daesang grows desperate. Their coach screams, "Crush them. Destroy them." But Sung-jun, standing tall at last, asks his coach, "Is there any way we can win?" Jiram smiles. "Then let's try." The formation shifts. The offense roars. The ball soars through the air. In the last 5 seconds, Sung-jun catches it. Time slows. The stadium holds its breath. He dives, try. Hanyang scores. Final whistle. 5-0. The underdogs have risen. The team erupts in tears and laughter. Sung-jun mimics Jiram's old celebration, the symbol of a boy who has finally found faith in himself and in his coach. But victory carries a shadow. In the epilogue, Jiram overhears whispers. Taepung is being scouted by Daesang. With only 7 players, losing even one means death. Taepung, torn between loyalty and ambition, admits the truth. Hanyang has no future, no recruits, no season beyond this year. Aram doesn't beg him to stay. Instead, he tells him to protect his ankles, to look after himself. But behind that calm farewell lies steel. For Jiram is no longer the fallen hero. He is the man who will rebuild, no matter how many times he has to try. And this time, he's not alone. The fallout begins the moment Hanyang's rugby team loses their only first year, snatched away by the vice principal's scheming. The underdogs are 1 player short, and the countdown begins. Jiram has just 1 week to find a recruit, or the team dies. And what's his genius plan? Not scouting at tournaments, not posters in the hallways. No, Jiram decides to break into the school's data room. With a stolen key, the job seems too easy. But Jiram doesn't realize the security camera is aimed right at the cabinet. When I-ji sees the shadowy figure on the feed, she pulls the alarm. Coaches from every department storm the scene, wielding hockey sticks, javelins, even baseball bats. Chaos explodes. By the time the dust settles, a battered Jiram is handcuffed and shoved into a police car. Of course, nothing was stolen. The mix-up clears, and Jiram is released. But not before his ex-girlfriend corners him with her fury. "Why here? Why back to this school?" she demands. His answer is simple, quiet, devastating. "Because everything I was looking for was here." And despite the bruises, Jiram finds something. A name. Possibility. One student could change everything, but to recruit him, Jiram must vanish from campus without permission. His boys scramble to cover for him, throwing out a desperate lie to the school nurse. "Coach has COVID." It buys them time, but whispers spread like wildfire. Their disgraced coach has run away again. Meanwhile, in a quiet port town, Jiram arrives at the address. He doesn't find just anyone. He finds the son of a legend. Moon Chul-young, once a rugby giant, now a bitter restaurateur. When Jiram dares to ask for an autograph, Chul-young spits venom. To him, Jiram is no hero, just a drug-stained disgrace. His son, Moon Woong, is loyal, working dutifully in the restaurant, hiding his own fire for rugby. Chul-young was left broken by injury, abandoned by the sport he gave his life to. He refuses to let Woong follow the same cursed path. No rugby, no future in pain. And Woong, bound by filial duty, obeys. But Jiram isn't done. If he can't convince the son, he'll confront the father. Their clash escalates until Chul-young's fist crashes into Jiram's face. Once again, Jiram finds himself at a police station. Only this time, he plays his cards wisely. He asks for one condition in exchange for dropping charges. A walk. Just him and Chul Young. On that walk, truths spill. Both men admit they made the same fatal mistake in their careers, trying to carry it all alone. They never trusted their teammates, and it destroyed them. But must Woong suffer for their sins? Jiram argues that rugby is about choice and Woong deserves one. At last, the father softens. Regret breaks his armor. He apologizes, and he lets his son go. Woong hurries to the station, too late for the bus, but not too late for Jiram. His coach is waiting, certain he'd come. Together, they race back to Hanyang and crash into the school's opening ceremony. Just as the vice principal is gloating about victory, Jiram bursts through the doors with Woong at his side. The auditorium gasps. The vice principal sneers. Not so fast. He digs into the archives and drags out a cruel relic, an ancient special admissions process designed to eliminate recruits. Woong must pass at least 2 of 3 trials, rugby, fencing, and archery, each judged by hostile coaches. Principal Kong bristles at the trick, reminding the vice principal that once, long ago, they laughed together about scouting a young Jiram. But those days are gone. Sung's ambition and her compassion now clash like oil and flame. He mocks her ideals as foolish dreams, warning her that her students' lives aren't fairy tales. For the first time, her confidence wavers. But Jiram reminds her, rugby was his choice. The field belongs to the players, not the administrators. The kids chose to be here and deserve the chance to fight. Jiram goes undercover, pulling every trick in the book. He hides in trash cans. He sneaks into fencing practices. He gathers intel. But for Woong to survive the tests, they need real help. Enter Seo Woo-jin, shooting captain, former archer, and Sung-jun's childhood friend. First, she refuses. Sung-jun begs, bribes, even threatens to spill childhood secrets, until Woo-jin notices Woong's scarred hands. Something softens. She agrees to train him. Jealousy sparks in Sung-jun as he watches Woong with her. Feelings tangled in silence. Even Jiram sees it, warning him not to let affection twist into tragedy. Test day. First, rugby. Woong dominates, silencing doubters. Too good. Even Sung-jun stares, unsettled. Next, fencing. Against the captain, Woong is outmatched. The points stack against him. But at the last moment, he scores one, proving grit counts as much as victory. Jiram praises him. That point matters more than the whole match. Then archery. Disaster. The team has food poisoning. The coach himself steps in. The fix is in and the trap is set. Sung-jun suspects Woo-jin betrayed them. Her silence cuts like a knife. The pressure crushes Woong. His arrows wobble, barely grazing targets. The crowd snickers. The vice principal beams. Victory is his, until Woo-jin raises her bow and deliberately fires wide. Again, perfectly missing. The arena falls silent. She scores 0 on purpose. It's an act of rebellion, of solidarity, of choice. But when Jiram asks why, she cannot answer. Instead, she demands, "Why did you tell Woong he didn't have to win? And why did I choose to lose?" The questions linger, echoing louder than any victory. Because this fight isn't just about rugby. It's about who gets to decide the future. Politicians, principals, or the kids themselves. And Jiram knows the answer. The curtain rises with I-ji stumbling upon Jiram collapsed on the floor. She rushes forward, but before questions can form, Principal Kong intercepts with a flimsy excuse. He was drinking, celebrating Woong's admission. The lie is brittle, unconvincing. I-ji freezes. Her ex never once touched alcohol. Why would he suddenly drown himself in it now, at school of all places? But Jiram's suspicious drinking habits are the least of her troubles. The real storm lies with the shooting team. Woo-jin's act of rebellion in the archery trials has Coach John seething. He strips her of her captaincy, humiliates I-ji in front of others, and treats her not as an assistant coach but as a child. I-ji swallows the abuse without protest. Why? Because her eyes are fixed on the only thing that can free her, the upcoming national tryouts. If she passes, she's gone from this suffocating school forever. The scandal spreads across campus like wildfire. Whispered rumors about the rigged shooting match fill the halls. Guilt gnaws at Sung-jun, who blames himself for Woo-jin's punishment. He corners her to apologize, fumbling an indirect confession in the process. But Woo-jin cuts him off cold. His assumption that she lost for him is a fantasy. From the bushes, the third years laugh at their captain's rejection, later teasing him mercilessly in the dorms about synergy. Meanwhile, without a field to call their own, Jiram improvises. Training spills into the swimming pool, the neighborhood soccer pitch, anywhere with open space. His Spartan approach toughens the boys, sharpening muscles and minds. Yet training alone is meaningless without real matches. Every other school is booked, doors slammed in Hanyang's face, until Jiram pulls one last string. His old professional rugby team agrees to a practice match. Excitement buzzes, all except for Youngkwang. His police entrance exam is on the same day. The revelation cuts deep. Jiram accuses him of running away, but Youngkwang fires back. Unlike their coach, he doesn't have the talent to survive on the pitch. His path is different. When his teammates hear the news, fury erupts. They brand him a traitor. Aram silences them with punishment laps, then pulls Youngkwang aside. A deal. Skip the match only if you can make 200 of 300 drop kicks. Impossible odds. Even professionals only land half. Youngkwang kicks until his legs ache. The final count? 163. Failure. But Jiram reveals the truth. His legendary teammate once scored fewer. You're better than you think. The boy is stunned. The coach admits his earlier anger was misplaced. Every player, he says, must one day step off the field. All he wants is for his students to leave on their own terms. With that, he signs Youngkwang's permission slip. Match day. Youngkwang sits in the exam hall, pen in hand, but his heart restless. In his bag, he finds a gift from his teammates, along with a note. An apology, a plea, a cheer. Their words strike home. Halfway through the test, Youngkwang stands. He runs. On the pitch, Hanyang waits, eyes darting to the gate. A taxi arrives. A pro player steps out. Their hearts sink. But then, from behind, Youngkwang bursts forward. He chose rugby. He chose them. The whistle blows. They fight together as 7. And though they lose, they score 12 points against professionals, a first in years. For Jiram, this is no defeat. It is the birth of their comeback. Meanwhile, at the national shooting tryouts, a different battle unfolds. Woo-jin leads. Bae-ji sits comfortably at 3rd. Seol-hyun, the vice principal's daughter, trails at 5th. With only 4 slots available, her position teeters. Coach John panics. He drags Bae-ji aside mid-match, ordering her to throw the game. Let Seol-hyun pass or kiss her own career goodbye. Bae-ji refuses. Instantly, her composure cracks. Arrows miss. Confidence buckles. With her final bullet, she freezes. The clock ticks down. She doesn't fire. Disqualified. Seol-hyun advances. Coach John smirks in victory. Rumors twist the narrative. Bae-ji is accused of rigging the match. Seol-hyun's father threatens the school. Fix this scandal or face consequences. Bae-ji, crushed, mutters one word, loser. Her arc is a bitter mirror to Jiram's lesson last week. Proof of a world that only crowns first place, discarding the rest. As Hanyang prepares for the President's Cup against Daesang, Jiram faces his own nightmare. No scouts have signed up to attend. His tarnished name poisons their chances. One by one, he's rejected. The only man who listens is his former national coach, who can barely look him in the eye. Still, Jiram asks only this: don't judge the boys for his sins. Judge them for themselves. But shadows creep closer. The vice principal orders Coach Bang of the aerobics team to uncover Jiram's secret. His odd behavior, sudden absences, and hospital visits mount. Behind closed doors, his neurological illness worsens. His doctor insists on scans. Jiram refuses, clinging to every second he can still stand on the field. Tensions boil when one of his players dislocates a shoulder fooling around. Aram explodes, fear and frustration spilling out as rage. The boys, understanding the truth beneath his fury, apologize. Jiram softens, apologizes back. They bicker over who is sorrier, their bond solidifying even in chaos. In contrast, I-ji spirals. Failing her tryout, smeared by rumors, she fears waking up one day useless. Jiram understands. His own illness stalks him, the same fear gnawing at his bones. They share a quiet moment, but years of pain are not erased in a single talk. I-ji insists she wants nothing from him. Still, Jiram refuses to leave her behind. He gifts her earplugs, her favorite brand, discontinued long ago. Block out the noise. Ignore the rumors. It's thoughtful, too thoughtful. She asks the question that's haunted her. Why do you care? Why stay? When you abandoned me once before. Before he can answer, his body betrays him. His chest locks. His breath halts. He collapses. Jiram wakes in a hospital bed. I-ji stands over him, eyes full of fury and fear. She knows now the truth behind his disappearance, his illness. In an epilogue, we see the night 3 years ago. Jiram, freshly diagnosed, told I-ji the truth. Then he laughed it off as a joke. Why? Because her national tryouts were coming, and he would not steal her future with his sickness. And so he vanished, carrying the weight alone. If you thought Jiram had already given everything, you'd be wrong. His greatest sacrifice is yet to come. A lump sits on his thymus, possibly a tumor. Surgery is viable. Doctors plead with him to act, but Jiram delays. 3 months. Just 3. Nationals are only 2 months away, and the President's Cup looms even closer. He convinces himself he can endure, as long as I-ji stays silent. But secrets have a way of slipping. His late-night ambulance trip sparks whispers. The vice principal demands answers, sniffing blood in the water. When I-ji is called in to explain, she shocks everyone. She takes the blame. She admits she has the yips and is suspended from her coaching duties. Aram begs her to retract her confession. She refuses. It wasn't a lie. I can't fire my gun. For once, she insists he should take the lucky break. Only Principal Kong knows the truth. She apologizes for keeping I-ji in the dark all these years. I-ji, her voice cracking, wonders if he never trusted her. Jiram was my routine, she chokes out. Banished from the shooting range, I-ji trains in the hallways. Coach John finds her, spits venom, tells her to quit. Her career is over. But Jiram won't let her fall. His solution? Desperation. He hides her gun. You're desperate for medals, he says. What you need is to be desperate to shoot again. To earn her weapon back, he demands 300 laps. She runs, teeth clenched, fire burning. Meanwhile, the shooting team crumbles. Woo Jin's scores nosedive. Coach John ridicules her, piling pressure instead of guidance. She considers seeking I-ji's help but holds back, unwilling to trouble a fallen coach branded by failure. The team boards the bus to the President's Cup. Tensions simmer. Woong sits next to Woo Jin, much to Sung Jun's quiet agony. Up front, Jiram is forced beside Coach Bang. He tries for friendly banter. Bang ignores him, his mind poisoned by old rumors. Yet Jiram still helps, slipping a motion sickness patch under his colleague's ear. Small kindness in cold silence. That night, Sung Jun meets his mother, brimming with excitement for the match. Her response crushes him. She's flying to Spain to his twin brother. She urges Sung Jun to quit rugby, join the family, become an agent. In truth, a sidekick, always second best, always in the shadow. Broken, he wanders. On a bench, Woo Jin waits. She overheard everything. She teases him gently, reminding him of tears he shed back in middle school. He denies it. They laugh softly, share a moment, then part with mutual wishes. Do well tomorrow. The stadium greets Hanyang's rugby team with silence. No scouts, no hope, until one man arrives, Jiram's former national coach. He pulls him aside, haunted by the past. That night before the finals, he recalls. You told me you couldn't play, pushed you, and when we fell behind, you took Anadrol. Regret cracks his voice. He apologizes, but Jiram shakes his head. Forget me. Watch my boys. The whistle blows. Against all odds, Woong scores first. The crowd stirs. Daesang rallies, tying quickly. The pace is relentless. Hanyang fights with ferocity. Hyung-shik keeping his notorious temper in check. Proof of growth. But then disaster. Woong freezes mid-tackle, and Daesang scores. Jiram notices instantly. The boy's hesitation isn't fatigue. It's fear. After the match, Woong confesses he cannot tackle. The team reels. With no substitutes, they adapt, covering his weakness and amplifying his speed. Exhaustion gnaws, but they endure. They fall short by 2 points. Loss. Yet in their defeat, Jiram sees victory. They fought like brothers. As custom dictates, the rugby boys join the cheer squad for the shooting finals. Sung-joon hides his feelings. Jiram doesn't. He admits openly he came for I-ji. The last shooters remain, Woo-jin and Seol-hyun. Hanyang has already secured gold and silver, but Coach John is unsatisfied. He promised Seol-hyun's father gold, and Woo-jin, back in form, threatens that promise. Before the match, I-ji had secretly helped Woo-jin. She discovered the cause of her slump. Her new shoes. Together, they tested every pair they could find until her stance stabilized. And now, on the firing line, Woo-jin delivers. She takes gold. Coach John fumes. His promise is broken, but he isn't finished. There's another battle ahead. Daehan Sport University. One early admission slot. Woo-jin wants it. So does Seol-hyun. John, desperate, tricks I-ji into writing a recommendation letter. Not for Woo-jin, but for Seol-hyun. Back in rugby, though Hanyang lost round 1, Jiram's former coach writes a glowing review. The vice principal, ever opportunistic, flips his stance, praising Jiram for unlocking potential and rewarding him with more gym time. Jiram apologizes to Coach Bang, who spits back. This is how it's always been. Winners feast. Losers starve. Jiram replies quietly, it wasn't easy, especially rugby. But one obstacle remains. Woong's tackling problem. The boys brainstorm insane solutions. Tackling cows, rolling in mud, military drills. Nothing sticks. Returning to school, they find gossip tearing at Woong's name. On the forums, he's a bully. Jiram reveals the truth. Flashback. Bullies once targeted Woong, beat him mercilessly. When they threatened his father, instinct took over. He tackled. The ringleader hit his head on a brick. Ever since, Woong has carried the weight. The rumor threatens his career. The team acts. Their reckless plan. Steal the bully's motorcycle, lure him into an alley, confront him. The bully agrees to delete the post if Sung-joon kneels. Without hesitation, the captain drops to his knees for his team. Loyalty etched in the dirt. They return proud. Jiram explodes. He scolds their recklessness, blames himself, and orders punishment. Tackle him. In the rain, they hesitate. He berates them, demands they hit harder. Stop treating him as untouchable. Still, Woong cannot do it. From the stands, his father arrives. He yells for Woong to quit. Jiram turns his back too. Desperate, Woong begs for another chance. He lunges, crashes into Jiram, driving him into the mud. Silence, then laughter. Jiram, grinning through pain, whispers, congratulations, you're a rugby player. But the storm is not over. In the dorms, Woo-jin uncovers Seol-hyun's fraudulent application. She confronts Coach John, demanding answers. She has better records, better grades. His reply, your attitude is wrong. Rage ignites. She threatens to expose him. He grabs her. They struggle. She crashes into a glass case, shards scattering. I-ji hears the noise. She sprints inside. Woo-jin lies moaning. John looms above her, still lecturing. I-ji's fury ignites. She snatches a gun, levels it at him. He sneers. Go ahead. You've got the yips. Her hands tremble. Her eyes shut. The shot cracks. A warning blast. Smoke coils. Silence falls. Her voice. Steady now. Leave her, or the next one won't miss. Medical privacy. At Hanyang High, it's a joke. Coach Bang, ever the snoop, sneaks into Jaram's room, rummages through his things, and steals his medication. His conclusion: insane. He accuses Jaram of secretly drugging the rugby boys with steroids. The absurd claim ignites Jaram's fury, and the two coaches explode into a brawl, dragging their bewildered students into the chaos. Flour flies, tempers flare, and when the dust settles, the two grown men, caked white like schoolchildren, are hauled before Principal Kong. Their punishment: switch teams. Bang must train rugby. Jaram must command aerobics. The swap is awkward, petty shouting echoing across practices, yet oddly effective. Students learn. Coaches adapt. But the kids want their leaders back, so in true Hanyang fashion, they concoct a plan. Kidnap their coaches. They throw bags over their heads, drag them into a storage room, and lock the door until they reconcile. What seems like a prank turns into revelation. The claustrophobic space triggers Jaram's symptoms, and Coach Bang finally learns the truth. The hospital visits, the sickness, the burden. Jaram confesses he kept fighting because if he didn't, the rugby team would lose their field. Bang scoffs. Failure deserves disbandment. Jaram fires back. You only won 1 gold medal in 3 years. Did that make everything else meaningless? Old wounds resurface. The show peels back their history. In high school, Bang was Jaram's teammate. An injury ended his run, bitterness festering ever since. But Jaram reveals the truth. He was the one who told their coach to bench Bang so he could heal. His friend hadn't been abandoned. He'd been protected. Tears wash away years of resentment. In that musty room, the two men rise together again, chanting their old Hanyang cheer. But peace never lasts. The school launches an investigation into Coach John. Cameras caught his violent altercation with Woo Jin. I-ji calls it assault. He calls it discipline. The hearing collapses when Woo Jin's own mother steps in and demands the case be dropped. Why? Because John made a deal. He promised to recommend Woo Jin to university next year when more slots open, while guaranteeing her a pro team spot in the meantime. To her mother, it's the best path to number 1. To anyone sane, it's betrayal. I-ji chases her down afterward, spitting truth. You're a terrible parent. John is reinstated. I-ji is shoved aside. But instead of despair, she seizes the moment. Time to focus on her own training. Until Woo Jin vanishes. I-ji finds her in the hospital, weeping. Her ear injury is permanent, stealing her balance, killing her precision. For a shooter, it's a death sentence. I-ji promises she won't face it alone. To honor that promise, I-ji humiliates herself. She bows to John on a golf course, begging to return as his assistant. Jaram sees it, rage flooding him. He smashes a window just to shout his fury. It's reckless, pointless, yet pure Jaram. Loud sacrifice drowning out I-ji's quiet suffering. Only Bang's intervention cools the fire, and I-ji slips back into her role. Then comes the Nationals draw. Superstition rules the day. According to the sacred book of jinxes, only the luckiest coaches may draw lots. This year, it's Jaram and I-ji. Together, they embark on a bizarre ritual. Ride a golden car. Scrub every speck in a car wash with cotton swabs. Drive only in the first lane, swerving wildly to avoid right turns. And finally, feast on golden fried food, their old high school tradition. On the restaurant walls still hang messages they once wrote about each other. The last jinx. Medals are high spirits. Jaram interprets it as donning yellow tracksuits and making a bubbly entrance. I-ji leads the charge. Jaram blushes and hangs back. But luck or not, when the time comes, Jaram pulls a favorable number. Hanyang avoids last year's champions. Hope flickers. The team throws themselves into training, but trouble brews. Sung-jun's shoulder. A ghost injury from last season flares. During a practice tackle, it tears apart completely. The diagnosis, rotator cuff. Serious. Jaram rushes him to the hospital. Sung-joon hates being benched, but there's one silver lining. Woo-jin is treated there, too. They share a quiet date, where she assures him there's nothing between her and Woong. For once, he smiles. But his mother brings only pain. She arrives not to comfort him, but to beg Ji-ram, convince her son to quit rugby. Sung-joon storms in, overhearing. He snaps. She never came to his games, never asked what he wanted. And now she feigns concern? Hollow words. He storms out. Ji-ram tells her firmly, I won't persuade him to quit. He finds his captain sulking on the roof. Sung-joon begs to play one last game. Ji-ram refuses. He must heal or else that last game really will be the end. But the boy hears only rejection. Desperate, Sung-joon turns to shortcuts. Steroids. He buys them in secret. Unbeknownst to him, a lurking reporter snaps photos. Headlines scream, Hanyang Rugby in doping scandal. Phones ring. The vice principal pounces. Pills are found in Sung-joon's things. But before interrogation, Ji-ram intervenes. In private, he asks, Did you take them? Sung-joon shakes his head. That's enough. Ji-ram steps forward. He claims the drugs as his own. His secret illness, his medication, the years of hiding. It all comes spilling out. The faculty is stunned. The team is speechless. Ji-ram, once the fallen hero, now bears the brand of noble fool. He has sacrificed everything. His career, his health, his name, all over again.